Welcome back to SledgeHammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge.
And I'm Ashley Sledge.
And today we're going to be doing our Didn't See That Coming on M. Night Shyamalan's 2016 film, The Visit. This is a movie that Ashley and I went and seen in the theater. We're both big M. Night Shyamalan fans.
This is true.
And upon first viewing, I think this is a great movie. It has a great twist to it. But since there is a twist to it, and we're going to be talking about that twist,
you might want to watch it first before you come back and watch this.
yes, because there are going to be spoilers here, so we want to throw that out here right away. Spoiler alert, this is a film you should go into blind. Don't let somebody ruin this movie for you. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it. It's definitely a great first viewing. So, you want to get ready to do it?
I do.
Okay,
so the movie starts off with a woman. She's being videotaped by her daughter. It's a girl named Becca. Mom's talking about when she was younger, around 19, she fell in love with an older man, and she went away with this man. Her mother and father didn't approve, so she just left and never talked to them again. They really wanted to meet their grandchildren. Their grandchildren are now 15 and 13, and so they...
Becca and Tyler are the grandkids' names. The kids also decide that they want to do it. You know, we're old enough now. We want to learn more about who we are. We want to meet our grandparents. So they decide they're going to go and they take the train to see them. On the train, we find out that 13-year-old Tyler is an aspiring rapper. And he's actually got some pretty good rhymes.
We share a Starbucks Frappuccino blend. And see, this isn't just philosophy. It's based on science, you see. Mr. Singh, my pediatrician, just confirmed for me. You tall skanks, I'm going through puberty. How?
Okay, so they get to their mother's hometown, which is Nana and Pop Pop. Nana's
name is Maria, and Pop Pop is Frederick. But they call him Nana and Pop Pop.
And they take them from the train station. They take them back to their mother's childhood home. And this is very exciting for the kids because they want to learn everything they can about their mother at a young age because they don't know anything about her at her young age.
Right. Yep. And Becca's doing the documentary. That's why it starts off with her, interviewing her mother, and now she's going into it.
And I think that's what's cool because this film is like half found footage, being from Becca's camera's point of view, and then the other half is real film. And when I say real, I mean R-E-E-L, not R-E-A-L. And I think that's a cool little twist to the film as well because you get some cool effects through the found footage and through the real film. So I think that's pretty cool too.
Yeah. So Pop Pop warns the kids that there's mold in the basement. He does not want them going down there getting sick from the mold. They FaceTime Mom to tell them that they got there and that everything's going okay. Mom is a little worried about what they're saying about her just because of how she left. And, there's obviously more to the story that she isn't telling the children. She's on a cruise with her boyfriend, and that's pretty much the whole reason that they went.
Why the kids wanted to go with Nana and Pop Pop. That's another reason because they could feel the discontent that Mom was getting. And they wanted her to go out and have fun with her boyfriend.
They just felt like Mom needs to be happy. And they thought that a man would make her happy, I guess.
And then this is pretty much the point where Pop Pop tells the kids they got to go to bed at 9 p.m. because him and Nana are old. They go to bed early, so the kids need to go to bed early and they need to stay in their rooms. Becca decides she really wants one of Grandma's homemade cookies, so she sneaks out of the room, and when she starts to go downstairs, she sees Nana sneak past the stairs, and she's vomiting all over the place. Becca runs back to her room. She was concerned, so the next morning she asked Pop Pop what was wrong with Nana. He said that she was fine. It was just a 24-hour bug.
Tyler and Becca start a game of hide and seek underneath the porch. They wanted to do something that they thought their mother probably did when she was a child. So they're under there, hiding from each other when all of a sudden they see Grandma, or Nana. I keep saying Grandma. Nana and she's like charging at Becca, and Becca gets really freaked out about it, and she hides. And then Tyler sees her out of the corner of his eye, and he gets freaked out because she's making these weird noises and charging at him. So they both run out from underneath the house. And then Nana comes out and she's laughing, and she says, "I'm making pot pie for dinner." And she's walking up the stairs, and all of a sudden you see her grandma butt, like her gown is hanging up, and you can see her butt. So
I do want to add real quick, that's one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. The under the porch scene, not the grandma butt. The under the porch hide and seek scene, I thought it was really suspenseful. It was really well done because it was done on the found footage aspect of the film, and I thought that was really good.
It was super creepy too.
Yeah,
it's
very
made
creepy.
You feel.
And when she comes out laughing, she looks almost normal now. When she's under there, she's almost monstrous.
Right.
But when she comes out, she's laughing like it was a normal game.
Like she was just playing a normal game of hide and seek.
Right, but it was definitely a lot more intense than that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the point where Dr. Sam, a man called Dr. Sam, comes. He's checking in on Nana and Pop Pop because they haven't volunteered at the hospital in a while. This is where we find out they volunteer at a hospital.
Yep.
He thinks maybe it's too much stress for him. They were on a walk and not home, so he didn't get to see him while they were there. The next day, Tyler sees Pop Pop in the shed again. He sneaks into the shed, and this is where he finds a pile of shitty diapers. So they ask Nana about it, and she says he is incontinent and he's ashamed of it, so he hides them out there so he can burn them. Pop Pop takes them into town so they can see where their mother went to school. Pop Pop sees a man across the street, and he says he's been staring at them and following him, so he runs across and just starts fighting this dude. Like, he jumps on top of him, starts attacking him. Finally, the kids pull him off. They're like, this guy doesn't know us, and we don't know him.
Mm-hmm. This is where you really find out there's something going on with Pop Pop.
Right.
Something's just not right. So it goes over to bedtime. Tyler is hearing growling and scratching outside the door. So he opens the door, and this is a hilarious part. He sees Nana, and she's scratching at the wall, but she's completely butt naked. So Tyler closes the door, and his face is just, he has the most frightening look on his face, and tells Becca,
Jesus, Becca, I'm blind.
Just the way he says I think we've reminded that a couple of different times because you were laughing so
I was
hard.
laughing so hard, and we didn't want to miss anything else, so we just kept rewinding this scene, because I think little things like that are brilliant to me, and with the storytelling and the character that Tyler plays.
Oh, he's brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, that's the perfect thing that I'm blind, Becca. Like, it was just the perfect way for him to interject some comedy into the film.
So again, they're concerned. They go talk to Pop Pop about this odd behavior. Pop Pop tells them that she has sundowners, which sundowners is a type of dementia.
And you working in a hospital, you actually see
this sundowners is 100% a real type of disease
it's a real type of dementia. And that's something that, as we were watching the film, she explained it to me. I had never heard of that. And so for her to tell me this, it actually adds a little bit of fear to me into the movie, because this is something real that real people experience. So you have the fear of watching it, but you also have the fear of these poor people that have to go through this type of dementia and start to lose themselves at night. So I think that was another great way to interject some fear into the story.
Yeah.
So now we cut to Pop Pop, and he's getting all dressed up because he thinks he's going to a dress-up party. Becca tells him that he must be confused.
Yeah.
He has something confused. He's thinking of something else. They go to the kitchen and find that Nana accidentally dropped batter on Becca's laptop. Now, when we're talking about FaceTime and stuff, they don't FaceTime with cell phones. They FaceTime with her laptop. So it's more of a Zoom, Skype type thing when she talks to her mom. But now the batter has been spilled right on the camera part. Oh, batter. It's a battered laptop. So now you can't see anything. She can see mom, but mom can't see anything on this end. So now this is where Tyler is starting to get suspicious. Tyler's like, they did it on purpose. They covered the camera. What do they have to hide?
Yeah. So they end up, I guess it's more like Skyping mom.
Yeah. We'll stick with FaceTiming. We're old.
So Tyler tells her that they're acting weird. Something's going on. And mom's like, no, they're just old. And they are a little weird. So she was like, I wish I could see you on the screen. But clearly she can't because there's batter caked all over the screen. Another thing that I want to talk about is a weird scene where Nana asks Becca to clean the inside of the oven, and she keeps making her get more and more inside the oven until she's completely in the oven. And
this scene had so much anxiety for me. Like the suspense throughout this scene, because you're wondering what's going to happen. She's getting farther and farther into this oven. And this is one of the best suspenseful parts of the film, in my opinion.
And so Becca gets a little like freaked out about it, and she jumps out, and she asks Nana then if she'll do an interview with her. And so they start the interview process, and Becca talks to her about her mom.
Yeah, she asks her what happened on the day that mom left.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to talk about too is We don't talk about it a lot because they don't really talk about it a lot in the film, but the whole focus of this film is her documentary. And again, we're not talking much about the documentary, but it's a huge part of the film.
Yeah.
That's the whole basis of the film, is Becca's making her documentary.
Right.
So that's why we keep going back to talking about it, because it is a very important part of the film.
Absolutely.
But back to it, Becca asks Nana, what happened on the day that Mom left? Nana starts shaking uncontrollably, and she says no more questions about Loretta Jameson. At this point, Tyler's very suspicious, and he wants to leave the camera out at night to try to spy on the grandparents. Becca says no.
Yeah.
That night, they hear Nana running back and forth past their bedroom, just back and back and back. The next morning, they all go for a walk, and Nana is mesmerized by the well. She's just staring down into the well.
It's really odd.
Yeah, and this is another scene where you're like, what's going on here?
What's going on with the well?
Yeah, there's definitely something going on with that well.
Foreshadowing here.
The kids go to the well and try to figure out what she was looking at.
Yeah.
Now, here's where Becca wants to get Tyler.
Yeah, so she wants Becca to interview her,
Yeah.
actually. So, Tyler starts interviewing Becca, and he is asking her some really hard questions. So we talked about in the beginning how their dad had left them and started a new family. And Tyler is asking her, like, why don't you ever look in the mirror anymore? And she got really upset. So Becca says that she doesn't want anything to do with her dad, and that she won't put any of the footage from her dad or her when they were younger in the film.
See, this was very heavy.
It was very heavy.
Like, we kind of glossed over this a little bit because it's not really important to the main twist part, which is what we're focused on. But the family stuff in this movie, between them and their father, is very heavy. And the fact that she's saying, I'm not going to use anything of my father in this film, I don't forgive him.
Yep.
It's actually pretty heavy. But here Tyler is starting to get super suspicious. And he wants to know what's in the basement. This is where Stacy, a woman from the rehab, comes by.
Yep, from the hospital, the same hospital.
Yep, and she's wondering why they haven't been there in a while. They're on a walk again, and they're nowhere around. Okay, so later on, Becca hears Nana laughing. She walks out to the living room to see what she's laughing at, thinking she's watching TV. She finds Nana rocking in her chair, just facing the wall, laughing. Becca asks her if she's okay. Nana says that she has the deep darkies. She takes her scarf and wraps it tight around her mouth.
Yeah.
Like, it's another very suspenseful, very freaky scene.
Yeah, so Becca at this point is freaked out. So she runs and finds Pop Pop. She finds him in the barn. And when she finds him, he's sitting there and he's got his gun loaded and it's in his mouth. And he jumps up really fast and he says, I was just cleaning it. So, again, something weird is going on with Pop Pop as well. Yeah. So at this point, Becca is kind of taking Tyler's side and saying, yeah, there's something going on. Yeah. And she really wants to put the camera out that night to see what's going on while they're, sleeping.
Yeah. So at night, Nana is slamming the closet doors. She screams at the camera, grabs a knife, and then she walks upstairs.
Yeah.
It pans over the kids while they're sleeping, and you can hear the door handle jiggle, but it's locked.
Yeah.
So Nana can't get in there, thank God. The next morning, Becca sees the footage, and she tells Tyler, we're getting out of here tonight. Stay away from Nana and Pop Pop. But then she kind of realizes we can't look suspicious.
Right.
So she asks Pop Pop if he'll do an interview for her documentary as well.
Yeah, so she starts the documentary. She starts to interview Pop Pop. And he is telling Becca about this really weird story about he used to work in a coal mine. And he would always see this little creature with yellow eyes. And he would leave it alone. So he ended up getting fired because he was obsessed over this creature. So after the interview, the Stacy lady comes back. And you see her Pop Pop and Nana outside. They're all arguing, and they tell her to come in, I guess, to talk more about whatever they're arguing about.
And we never actually see Stacy leave.
Yeah, so we don't ever see her leave. So it's later on that night, and
Nana decides she wants to do another interview.
So she wants to
Becca.
do another interview. And this is when Nana tells her this odd story about these creatures from another planet that live in the pond. So Becca shakes that odd story off and wants to talk about her mom. So she says, she asks her, what would you do if you seen her? Why would she leave? And then Nana begins to start hitting herself again. She was like, then Becca goes in to tell Nana a story about this little girl. She doesn't say Loretta.
Yeah.
How she misses her parents, and what would she do if she asked for her forgiveness? And Nana says, "I would forgive you, little girl."
Right. This is another emotional scene.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, the family drama aspect of this movie is awesome too. Great writing by Shyamalan in this
Absolutely.
film. The kids go Skype with mom. They tell her that she has to come and get them now. Mom's like, what? Why? Let me see your grandparents. They take the laptop to the window where Nana and Papa are outside. They did manage to scrape, we forgot to say that, they managed to scrape the battery off the laptop. At this point, mom says,
"Those aren't your grandparents."
"That's not your grandparents. Where are your grandparents? Those are the people you've been staying with." So
And-
these haven't been the grandparents the whole time.
That's a twist. That's very twisty.
And the first time you watch that, it like gives you chills. Like, who are these people?
Yes. So the mom says, "We're going to call the police. The police are going to come out there and get you." But I got to agree with you. When you first get that twist of, those aren't your grandparents.
Yeah, it's like, who have we been with for the last week?
Yeah. So this is an amazing twist on the movie.
Yeah.
Well, now they know they got to get out of there. They know the police are going to be coming, but they don't want the strangers to find out that they're onto them.
Right.
That they know they're not the real Nana and Pop Pop. So they sit down to play a game. During the game, they get scared because Nana and Pop Pop are acting crazy.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, they've been crazy throughout the whole film, but at this point, they're like nuts.
This is the biggest meme from the movie, when the grandma's shoving the cookies in her mouth and then she screams, like, it's, you know, one of the another comedic part of the film.
Yeah.
Becca tells Tyler to keep him busy, and she's gonna go check the basement.
Yeah, so Becca goes down to the basement, and this is where she finds jumpsuits from the Maple Shade Psychiatric Hospital, where Nana and Pop Pop had,
Worked.
Yes.
The real Nana and Pop Pop.
Right, the real Nana and Pop Pop.
They worked at the mental hospital.
Also a bloody hammer was with the jumpsuits. She sees her dead grandparents in the basement as well. This is when fake Pop Pop goes to the basement and tells Becca that they were always bragging about their grandchildren, and they shouldn't have done that because they knew that the woman's name,
Claire.
The
fake Nana. Her real name is Claire.
So she drowned her children, or she drowned her grandchildren.
She put them in a suitcase and threw them down a well.
Yes.
So that's why when you seen Nana earlier, who was Claire, staring down the well, this kind of connects those dots right there.
Yeah, so he's saying they should have never bragged about you. They knew what she did to her grandchildren, and so
he totally makes it their fault that these people came and killed them.
Right. So Becca's trying to get away from fake Pop Pop, but he is continuing to talk about that weird white creature with yellow eyes. He grabs her and takes her upstairs to where Claire is locked in a room. And at this point, she's full on crazy. Sundowners are in full effect. Yeah. She's screaming and crawling around the room all weird. And all of a sudden, she is right in Becca's face.
So we see Tyler's holding his head. We don't know really what happened to him, but he's in the kitchen with Pop Pop. Fake Pop Pop knows that Tyler's a germaphobe. That's probably something we should have said from the start too.
We should have.
Tyler's a big germaphobe, and me being a germaphobe myself, this scene really got to me. He walks up to him and he's like, "Hey, you don't like germs, do you?" And he slams one of his shitty diapers right into Tyler's face. This scene that almost physically made me sick. I would have screamed and cried like such a baby about this. So now Claire's crawling around the bedroom really creepy.
Yeah.
Claire attacks Becca, and Becca stabs her with a piece of broken mirror. Becca gets out of the bedroom and attacks fake Pop Pop. He throws her to the ground. Tyler tackles him to the ground and starts smashing his head in the fridge door. Now, earlier on in the film, Tyler said, and we were going to talk about this earlier, when his dad was at one of his football games, he froze when he knew he should have made a tackle. And he feels like that's the reason his dad left, because he froze. And at this moment, for a little bit, Tyler's frozen. But then when he goes, he starts smashing his head in the fridge like it's no mercy. He's screaming and cussing and just slamming his head repeatedly with the fridge. And this is his way of letting out all the anger and the sadness he has built inside him over his dad leaving, because he's always blamed himself because he froze.
Right.
This is his way of making up for it.
Well, and he put a poopy diaper in his face.
Yeah, and he had a shitty diaper shoved in his face. So very good reason to slam someone's head in the fridge door.
Yes. Agreed. So they get out of the house. As they're walking out, Mom and the police are pulling in. This is where this part of the movie ends. And then you go over and it's Becca's ending to her documentary. Mom's talking about how really great her parents were to her. And she tells the story of the day she left.
The real story.
The real story. So she had cursed at her parents and tried to leave, and Mom tried to stop her, and Loretta slaps Mom.
Nana.
Or Nana.
Mm-hmm.
She slaps her, and so Pop, he slaps Loretta because, you know, that was his wife.
Mm-hmm.
So they're angry, they left, but they, over the years, they tried to get in touch with her. You know, they wanted to meet their grandchildren, they wanted to be in her life, and she tells her, she tells Becca, you didn't have to go there to get forgiveness for me. I could have had it anytime I wanted it, because they, you know, they wanted her in her life. And that's really sad because she never got to see them before they died. And this is the part where we're always talking about Dad and stuff, and she realizes that she needs to forgive her dad for what he did, and she decides that she's going to put Dad in her documentary.
And I think the big thing with this is, you know, don't hold on to your anger.
Yeah.
Because you never know when you're going to finally want that back and they're gone.
Absolutely.
So this movie does have a great message to it as well. And that's another twist to this movie, because the whole time you're thinking that Nana and Pop were the ones that pushed her away, when really their forgiveness was there the whole time.
She could have had it whenever she wanted.
She was a 19-year-old kid that made a mistake. They were willing to forgive her. And then the movie ends with Tyler rapping on her video camera. She finds those clips, and
I may be 13, may not live in the hood, may not carry no chrome, may not be allowed a cell phone at dinner, but I'm young and can do 18 push-ups, and I speak the truth.
so guys, if we're going to rank this on a skull count like we always do, on first viewing, I'm going to rank this one actually at about a 4. I thought it was really good on first viewing, and on second viewing, I'm going to go 1.5 to 2. Because I feel like once you know what the twist is to this movie, it's not as fun when you're watching it again, because you don't have that anticipation and that anxiety and excitement of what's really going to happen here. So for me, it goes first viewing 4, second viewing 1.5 to 2. What about you?
First viewing, I will also give it a 4. It legitimately creeped me out, gave me chills, you know, when you find out the twist. So it was honestly, the first time I watched it, it was really good.
When she goes, those aren't your grandparents.
It's like, yeah, you can feel like the hair sticking up. Yes. Second viewing, I'm going to go a little lower. I agree with you. Once you know the twist and everything that's going on, it's not quite as fun. I'll say a 2.5 for the second viewing.
Okay. And that's fair. We're right about the same area. So we hope you guys had a lot of fun. This was our episode about The Visit. I think you'll agree that it was the shiznit. So subscribe if you want some more. We'll see you next time on SledgeHammer Horror.
I thought we agreed you weren't gonna do